you were telling me a little bit about what you have cooking as far as motorized training, and just a little bit that I got from you sounded very interesting. And so tell me about what's going on with the courses and the training that you're putting together.
So, it's not just the one story. There's a lot of actual personal stories with avalanches I got from being in the mountains at 150 days a season, every season for as long as I can remember. And so either they affected people I know or people I care about, or so there's a lot of connection points there that motivate me to continue to push and stand on a soapbox and say, hey, we need to change this or we need to change that. And working with inside the bureaucracy of all the organizations, which they're all great, but it slows you down a little bit. And so this year, the last 3 years, we've worked heavily on developing an online educational program.
It doesn't just cater to Canadian curriculum.
Yep.
It's also encompassing American curriculum, so it's like a North American online program.
So I worked with ARI for a while. We consulted on some of their development for their actual first true motorized curriculum built. So ARI I really fly their flag. Not that they're the only flag you should fly, but in the States. But they have a structured, actual, true curriculum. Yep. And even though it still needs work and growth, it's a nice stepping stone for theirs. So Duncan's a good counterpart of mine in those adventures. But even with that, it's still, there's still motorized specific rescue, motorized terrain travel, stuff that works to help the actual user defend themselves from that exposure and minimize the risk. You'll never take it down to nothing, just like driving around Tokyo. It's like we're out there to take risk. It's an inherited risk, but it's a manageable risk if you're willing to learn how to drive in Tokyo.
Yeah.
So it's about being aware of what those risks are. And normally they're like sleeping sharks around there, or a lot of people are like, oh, it just happens sometimes. And the same goes with rescue. So we developed an online learning tool, and I dislike that in so many ways because it's so important to have hands-on education with it. And so I was a real naysayer originally to it, but then trying to help develop curriculum and stuff's been slow going. So I just put my money where my mouth is and my time, and I said, well, fine, I'll just put it all into an online course and then really promote people, take that experience, and then go get hands-on education with it.
So it's like, okay, here's the level that is like the bare minimum. Let's get as many people here as we can.
Show them what they don't know.
Yes, let's get them here and stress like this is like just what you should be at. And you got to go get the rest.
Well, and I think in our leadership culture as well too, I'll call it pot kettle black, is like there's a lot of very experienced high-end snowmobilers with very limited avalanche knowledge. And then those people are looked up to as like, hey, I want to be like that person. But when that person can't articulate or help mentor that next step into the avalanche knowledge because they're shy about it, or they don't know and they're insecure about being able to communicate what needs to be there, it doesn't help the next generation coming up. So we have to help shift that to that, hey, this is worthwhile. But then in the snowmobiler's defense, going to sit in a classroom for 7 hours and listen, there's not a lot of take home there.
Yeah, and they're probably weighing, okay, do I want to spend a day in the classroom or do I want to go on the mountain?
Yeah. So
you're battling that too.
He's done it in a couple great steps. So it's online, but first chunk is just awareness. So it's open your eyes. This is what you don't know. This is what you should know. Lots of laughs, little jokes, pokes at your buddies, that kind of thing. And then you stack it up with your actual level 1. But remember, that's not your hands-on. That's just your classroom component.
Classroom part of it.
So you do your awareness, your level 1, and then you've got the bare minimum for your 8 hours-ish of classroom portion. But the whole time we're like reminding you, just because you can see it on here and just because we're telling you doesn't mean you can actually do it. You need to practice. Like, you ever watched a YouTube video and they show you how to fix your truck and then you walk outside and you're like, well, that doesn't make sense, and you have to watch the YouTube video 16 more times. You got to get hands-on. You got to practice it to make it work.
Yeah.
And I do wonder like how much people go to an awareness, and just silly small words I think is what we kind of corrected in Canada a little bit. When there's Avalanche awareness, right? And that's that 3-hour talk. And that's great. It brings awareness to it. But it's not a class.
No.
It's not education.
Yeah. And it's the same every year. Really, it's the same program.
Yep.
On repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And you hope you get new people there every year, and it's kind of beneficial. But it's really just the same.
I think it's just the understanding that it's
you know?
straight awareness. It's not education, and to do this sport and understand the risks. And I want to go out there and take risks. That's my whole gig. I'm not the naysayer. I still want to jump off a cliff, and I still want to take those, but I don't want to take unnecessary risk. I don't want to just walk across the road and see if a school bus hits me. I want to look both ways, you know? So, but I think what we've done incorrectly somewhat in the Avalanche culture world is that we allow people to think that, that Avalanche class that we promote on a poster is actual training, which it's not.
Yeah.
It's an awareness talk, and that's it.
And actually, I didn't want to put that in a negative light, because I've been to those, and there's
great.
not one that will tell you this is Avalanche training.
Yeah.
They will tell you this is just awareness. You know?
And somehow the cultures
Yeah.
wanting to say, like, maybe it's the snowmobile culture is just wanting to say, oh, I got training.
Yeah, I went to my training today.
But, and so they don't want to invest or not want to invest. And that's why I allow myself to come on here and cry or anything else, is like, there's a risk. And yeah, there's an inherited risk by going out there. But if you actually understand the problem, you can seriously manage it to really minimize it. And you just have to be willing to invest in that knowledge.
Yeah.
So we're hoping this online course now, like course without the hands-on, is more accessible. So everyone who has a weekend or has a month to sit down, it's broken down into modules. They can do like a module.
Is it self-paced?
Self-paced, yeah,
Self-paced.
totally. Places you can click, pause.
I can do it in June. I can do it in
whenever
March.
you want. You can
do it.
replay a section you forgot or you want to watch again. So you can use it to your own schedule.
Okay.
As much as you want, so you get the knowledge as much as you want, and then
Computer and mobile. Like, can I be on my phone too?
100%, yeah. Next year it'll be in its own app form.
Okay.
It's always done one of those classic, one of the top-notch online learning platforms. So it's all structured that way. And I won't have it done now, but I actually have one of my mentors, who's a professor for a university, is going to do all the academic side. So I took my real world approach, dump my heart and soul and passion into the visuals and that delivery. And then in the module portions or the script portions of those, it will be a whole academic approach delivered from him. So,
Oh, nice.
so I have an actual university teacher developing all that sort of stuff for the keeners. Like Shena learns that way. Yeah, that's probably what makes me good at this. I'm a old redneck, rough around the edges. You got to kind of beat it into my head. And for someone like Shena, she learns theory. You know,
so his course is a good mix of both.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, just really trying to shift that way and just stop that number 9. Like for some reason, like I'm connected to every one of them for some reason. Not sure why, but it's something I carry for the rest of my life. And I'm sure, like, there's other guys in here with the same story, but they don't want to talk about it because that happens and they're shy. Yeah, get over it. I got no teeth. I'm okay with my manism.
Yeah, definitely.
But,
So, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing that story, and it's obvious, like, where your passion comes from. And so, how cool is it to think, like, you know, the podcast space, YouTube video, like going to work, you're at work and you just throw the training on, the awareness training that you guys have on that platform, and just let that thing roll. You know, let it play. Become familiar with it. Throw it in the car on your way. Maybe you're not watching it, but you can listen. Yeah. You can listen to it. Doesn't mean that's the first and only time you're going to go through it, but at least it's repetitive, and you're just getting, you know, aware of those things. And
and I try to make it entertaining as well.
There's
so
movie clips, there's jokes, there's.
I mean, you're rolling with the green screen.
Oh yeah.
So who knows what's going to be?
I wasn't
who
planning.
knows what can pop up.
You know, I
the old green screen.
I put about $200,000 worth of effort into it. So it's I put my money where my mouth was, and because that's been my goal since I somehow pulled this emotional experience back out and lived through all the other emotional experiences I've had throughout the mountains and my time in it. And I love the mountains, and I never want to not be in them, and wanted to share and shift that culture so people can feel comfortable going out there, and not have their wife be like, oh, it's, you know, avalanche hazards at extreme. And I think a lot of the organizations kind of fearmonger a little bit. You know, it's like, you can't go snowmobiling. Avalanche is that high. Yeah, you can go snowmobiling.
Pick
you just
proper
have to
terrain.
pick appropriate terrain. But a lot of the content was built for skiing and snowboarding. Well, in skiing and snowboarding, I have to be on 30-degree pitch.
Have fun, yeah.
To have fun. So if you can identify what avalanche terrain is, where the runout zone is, you can still go snowmobiling. But if you can't, then maybe high should scare you out of the backcountry.
Yeah.
And so the avalanche organizations don't articulate that very well, and that shift in sort of terrain use. So I hope something like this can help our motorized community get motorized specific target, but still absolutely need to actually learn how to do it hands-on.
All of my friends driving from across Canada to go snowmobiling this winter, watch it on your drive. I know you have 18 to 24 hours drive.
Perfect.
Put it on.
So that's a great question. How many hours is it total?
So you do the intro, it's 2.5 hours.
Okay.
You do the whole level 1, so intro into level 1 would be 8 hours of content. And all broken into 10 to 15-minute modules. And, you know, if you want to come do hands-on courses with us after, you each individually have to register and come to me with a certificate. So, because I don't want to step backwards in my actual field portion for you. So you'd have to actually complete it. But what I'm hoping to do with it on the international stage, so to speak, or Canada, US, and that's why I built it neutral between how ARI and the communications of the American side and then the Canadian side, is so that if people are doing it, they're going to ENDS, they're going to whoever else for hands-on, it works in conjunction with what they're doing.
Beautiful.
And the content that they're delivering. So
the people are going to have the same vocabulary as they're going to get on hand, like in field with ENDS. Same terms.
Same terms, same sort of approach. So it could be utilized in that conjunction as well. And then it has my flavor to all the work. So we just had a couple posters at the International Snow Science Workshop.
In Bend, Oregon?
Okay.
So trying to get some peer review process from the avalanche world on terrain travel techniques and what would be industry best practices, industry best practice for motorized avalanche rescue. And just in the morning, like for me, like there's good points and bad points. You can beep check somebody on a snowmobile as they drive by you, but you better be really proficient with that transceiver to not get messed up by a ghost signal presented. It all depends on manufacturer. So the electrical interference problem and how it affects us is a big part of that conversation out of the years.
Skiers don't have that, right? They don't got the magneto and the sled running and the shot and all that.
So, and that's kind of a new problem in the avalanche world that they're trying to wrap their head around, is the electrical interference and how it affects us. So there's a bunch of content on there that doesn't matter if you're a longtime guy, you've done a level 2 training program or whatever else, everybody will gain something, even from the level 1, and learn a lot. And like I said, I didn't mess around. I put a ton of passion and energy into it. It took me 3 years.
Where can we go? SoulRides? Is that where you're holding?
Yeah, it's housed on SoulRides.ca, and of course that's got my hands on stuff. But if you go to courses, tickle down to online, and then you're in, and it's we're charging for the intro $25. We're giving a bunch of it away at the show, and hey, if anybody's out there interested in packaging, and I'm interested in getting it out into the ether, so I'll give it away in the right context. And so the intro is $25 and the level 1's $100, and that's Canadian, so you guys get like what, 39% off.
That's like, I pay that and I've got access for forever.
Forever for those levels. Yeah, you can rewatch it. And then I plan on, if there is a good upswing to it, then I'll deliver a level 2 and a 3. And then the other thing I have on there, which I hopefully will add this year, is called backcountry preparedness.
Yeah.
So
just all sorts of backcountry skills and
emergency response planning, first aid.
Yeah, like hellying people out. Like me and Duncan, I don't know if you caught last year, we come across an arterial leg bleed, and a fella got the J hook from a Polaris and pulled his artery in his groin, and he was...
That actually really does happen.
Yeah, he was leaking pretty bad, And so it was getting dark, got him out, helied out. But just understanding heli extraction, winter survival, all those sorts of things. So we're trying to give that knowledge and the better preparedness for
so we'll keep
our
an
industry.
eye out for that one.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
So if we get enough upswing, I'll keep putting energy in.